When we talk about education, many of us immediately imagine classrooms, textbooks, teachers, and examinations. We picture a school or a university where learning seems to have a beginning and an end. But the truth is, education does not start when you step into a classroom, and it does not stop when you graduate with a degree in your hand. Real education is not confined within four walls. It is something that breathes through every moment of your life. If you truly want to transform your life, you must understand that education is a journey that continues every single day, long after you leave the school gates. It is in the conversations you have, the books you read, the mistakes you make, and the lessons you gather from simply being alive. Every single day is an opportunity to add something new to your mind and to your soul. Think about it, life keeps changing. The world keeps evolving. And if you choose to stay the same, you eventually fall behind. But when you commit to educating yourself daily, you stay connected with growth, with change, with progress. You learn that your mind is like a garden. If you stop watering it with knowledge, it starts to wither. And watering it once or twice is not enough. You must nurture it consistently. This is why the idea of educating yourself every day becomes so powerful. It is not about reading hundreds of pages or memorizing facts. It is about being open to learn from every single experience around you. You see, education is not just what a teacher delivers to you. It is what you choose to seek. A child can learn from a mother's wisdom. A businessman can learn from failure. And even the elderly continue to learn from the younger generation. The world itself becomes a university when you are willing to observe and absorb. And the beauty of this kind of learning is that it never ends. You will never reach a stage in life where you can say, "Now I know it all, and there is nothing more left to learn." That is not how growth works. The moment you close yourself off from learning, you close yourself off from evolving into a better version of yourself. There is a reason why people who continuously educate themselves seem to have a different glow in their lives. They are not afraid of change. They are not stuck in rigid patterns, and they do not let fear stop them. Because every day, they add one more layer of wisdom, one more perspective, one more tool to navigate life. They understand that education is not preparation for life. It is life itself. You don't learn to pass time. You learn to pass through challenges. You don't learn to earn a degree. You learn to earn resilience, courage, and clarity. Think about your own life for a moment. How many lessons did you actually learn from a textbook? And how many came from the moments when life tested you? Maybe you failed at something important. Maybe someone disappointed you. Maybe you struggled financially, or maybe you lost something you deeply valued. In those moments, life itself was your teacher. And if you reflected and chose to learn from it, you became wiser. That is what true education looks like. It doesn't always come with applause or certificates, but it leaves you with strength and wisdom that no institution can ever give. So, when I say educate yourself every day, I mean open your eyes, open your heart, and open your mind to the endless lessons life is placing in front of you. Do not restrict yourself to believing that only schools or universities can teach you. Your education is happening in every moment you are alive. Every person you meet knows something you don't. Every failure you encounter reveals something you never noticed before. Every success teaches you responsibility. Every struggle teaches you gratitude. This is why education is not limited to classrooms. It is the art of living with awareness and humility. And when you embrace this, your life becomes extraordinary. Because you are no longer just existing. You are learning, evolving, and becoming better every single day. That is the kind of education that truly transforms lives. And that is the kind of education we must all seek. Life has a very unique way of teaching us lessons, sometimes in the most unexpected places, and through the most ordinary moments. If we pause for just a second and look around, we will realize that life itself is the greatest teacher we could ever have. A school can give us degrees. A teacher can give us knowledge. But only life can give us wisdom. And the truth is, wisdom comes wrapped in experiences, both the beautiful ones and the painful ones. Every failure carries a hidden lesson. Every success whispers a reminder, and every single day presents us with opportunities to grow, if only we are willing to notice. Think about the times when you felt broken, or when things did not go as planned. Did those moments not teach you resilience? Did they not force you to look deeper within yourself and discover strengths you didn't even know existed? Sometimes life teaches us more through disappointments than achievements. Because it is in failure that we learn humility. It is in rejection that we learn perseverance. And it is in loss that we learn gratitude for what we still have. No book in the world can truly teach you what it feels like to start again after being knocked down. But life can, and it does. At the same time, success is also a teacher. When you achieve something you have worked for, life gently reminds you of the value of discipline, patience, and commitment. Success shows you the reward of consistency, but it also teaches you responsibility. Because when you reach a place where people look up to you, life expects you to carry that position with grace. And when you do not, it teaches you humility in its own way. So, whether it is failure or success, life never lets you walk away empty-handed. It always leaves you with a lesson. Often, we underestimate the small, ordinary experiences, but even they carry wisdom. A conversation with a stranger can open your eyes to a perspective you never considered before. A mistake you make in daily life can teach you to pay attention. Even silence can teach you something about yourself, about patience, about reflection, about the power of listening. The truth is, life never stops teaching, but sometimes we stop learning. We rush, we complain, we overlook, and in doing so, we miss the gentle lessons that were always there, waiting for us. If you look at the people who inspire you the most, you will see that their strength did not come only from books or classrooms. It came from what life put them through. They learned through pain, they learned through loss, they learned through persistence. Their stories became powerful because they allowed life to educate them. They did not run away from lessons. They embraced them, no matter how difficult. And that is what we all must do. Embrace the fact that every day is a classroom and every moment is a teacher. What makes life such an incredible teacher is that it never stops. Even when you are at your lowest, life is still teaching you something. Perhaps patience, perhaps hope, perhaps faith. Even when you are at your highest, life is still teaching you. Perhaps humility, perhaps balance, perhaps gratitude. Every stage, every chapter, every season of your life comes with a new subject to master. And unlike a school where you can choose your subjects, life chooses them for you. Some lessons you may not want, but they are the exact ones you need. So, when I say educate yourself every day, it does not mean you always need to read a book or watch a lecture. It means you must be awake enough to recognize the lessons hidden in your own journey. Your failures are not punishments. They are classrooms. Your struggles are not curses. They are teachings. And your victories are not just rewards. They are reminders of what you are capable of. Life is constantly whispering wisdom in your ear. You just need to be quiet enough to listen. And when you begin to live this way, you will notice something profound. You will no longer fear failure because you will see it as education. You will no longer resent hardships because you will see them as preparation. And you will no longer take success for granted because you will know it is a lesson too. That is the power of letting life become your teacher. It transforms every moment into growth and every experience into wisdom. When you choose to educate yourself every single day, money. One of the most beautiful things that happens is that you begin to realize how little you truly know. And that realization is not discouraging. It is humbling. It makes you more open, more curious, and more willing to listen. Learning daily is not just about filling your mind with knowledge. It is about shaping your heart with humility. It teaches you that wisdom does not come from having all the answers, but from being brave enough to ask the right questions and from being open enough to listen when the answers come from unexpected places. So many of us grow up believing that education is about becoming the smartest person in the room, about having a degree that proves our worth, or about knowing more than someone else. But in truth, real education does the opposite. It breaks down arrogance and replaces it with gratitude. It reminds you that no matter how much you learn, there will always be more to discover. No matter how much you achieve, there will always be someone who knows something you don't. And instead of feeling insecure about that, daily learning teaches you to celebrate it, to see it as an opportunity to grow rather than a threat. The danger of not educating yourself is that you become rigid. You start believing that your perspective is the only perspective, that your truth is the only truth. But when you embrace learning as a daily habit, you begin to understand that life is far bigger than your limited experiences. You see the world through different eyes because you are willing to listen, to read, to observe, and to accept that other people's journeys hold wisdom too. And this openness makes you kinder, more patient, and more understanding. You stop judging so quickly because you realize you have so much more to learn. Humility is a gift that comes naturally to those who keep learning. Imagine someone who reads a new idea, meets a new person, or faces a new challenge every day. That person will never grow stagnant. They will never think they have reached the final destination. They will always remain a student of life. And isn't that what makes life beautiful? That no matter your age, your position, or your achievements, you can still be a student, still be curious, still be hungry for wisdom. Daily education also protects you from pride. Pride convinces you that you know enough, that you have reached your limit, that others have nothing to teach you. But the moment you accept that you are a lifelong learner, pride loses its grip on you. Because each day you find yourself saying, I don't know everything, but I am willing to learn something new. And that simple statement keeps you growing. It keeps your heart soft, your mind open, and your soul eager. Think about the people you admire the most. They are not admired because they claim to know it all. They are admired because they remain grounded, approachable, and eager to keep learning. They know that real strength is not in pretending to be perfect, but in being willing to keep evolving. They know that true greatness is never built on pride, but on humility. And humility is born when you commit to daily learning. So, when we say, educate yourself every day, it is not just about filling your brain with information. It is about shaping your character with humility. It is about realizing that being a student of life is not a weakness. It is the greatest strength you can have. Because the more you learn, the more you realize how much is still left to discover. And that realization does not weigh you down. It lifts you up because it reminds you that life still has endless possibilities waiting for you. And that is the beauty of it. The more you learn, the more humble you become. And the more humble you become, the more you are able to truly learn. It becomes a cycle of growth, one that keeps you alive, curious, and grounded. That is why daily education is not just about the mind. It is about the soul. When you make the decision to educate yourself every single day, something far more powerful than just knowledge begins to grow inside you. You begin to recognize your own worth. Because when you invest in your growth, when you commit to nurturing your mind and heart daily, you are sending yourself a message. I am valuable. I am capable, and I deserve to evolve. Education is not just about understanding the world better. It is about understanding yourself better. It is about realizing that you have within you an untapped potential waiting to be unlocked. And every single day you choose to learn, you are polishing that potential, shaping it, and giving it the chance to shine. So many of us struggle with self-doubt. We question our abilities, we compare ourselves with others, and we underestimate what we are capable of. But when you make self-education a habit, you gradually silence those doubts. Because every piece of knowledge you gain, every lesson you absorb, becomes a reminder of your capacity to grow. You begin to trust yourself more, because you know you are not standing still. You are moving forward. even if it's just one small step at a time. That movement builds confidence, and that confidence transforms into self-worth. The truth is, no one else can truly define your worth. Not your family, not your friends, not society, not even the titles or degrees you hold. Your worth is something you have to recognize and nurture from within. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is by continuously educating yourself. Because the moment you start learning, you start growing. And the moment you start growing, you begin to see that you are capable of far more than you once believed. Self-education is like watering a seed. At first, it may not look like much is happening, but with time, roots form, growth begins. And eventually, a tree stands tall for the world to see. Every day you dedicate yourself to learning, you are watering the seed of your own greatness. You are reminding yourself that you are not ordinary, that you have a purpose, and that your mind is a treasure that deserves to be expanded. And when you truly believe that, no one can convince you otherwise. The beauty of educating yourself daily is that it creates a foundation of self-respect. You no longer seek validation from the outside, because you know you are building yourself from the inside. The world may praise you, or it may criticize you, but either way, you remain grounded, because your worth is not tied to opinions. It is tied to your continuous growth. And that growth cannot be taken away from you. Sometimes people look at others and think, she is so confident, he is so strong, they are so successful. But what they often don't see is the quiet commitment behind that strength. The commitment to learning, to improving, to becoming better every single day. That commitment creates unshakable self-worth. Because when you are teaching yourself, evolving yourself, you are building something no one can destroy. Belief in your own value. And here is the most important part. When you start to see your own worth, the way you live changes. You stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop comparing yourself to others because you know your journey is unique. You stop doubting whether you belong because you know that every lesson you've learned has prepared you for the place you are standing in. And that kind of self-worth is not arrogance. It is quiet confidence that shines through your actions and inspires others without you even realizing it. So, when we talk about educating yourself every day, remember this. It is not just about knowing more, it is about becoming more. It is about reminding yourself daily that you are valuable enough to invest in. And when you do that consistently, you build a version of yourself that is resilient, confident, and unshakably aware of its own worth. That is the true reward of daily education. It shapes not just your mind, but your very identity. The truth about growth is that it never happens in places of comfort. If you are doing the same things every day, thinking the same thoughts, following the same patterns, then you may feel safe, but you are not truly growing. Real growth begins the moment you dare to step outside what feels familiar and allow curiosity to lead the way. Curiosity is the spark that keeps you learning, that keeps you asking questions, that keeps you searching for answers beyond what you already know. When you educate yourself daily, you are not just repeating old lessons. You are choosing to stretch, to challenge yourself, to go beyond the boundaries of what you thought was possible. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you, telling you to stay where you are, to not take risks, to not ask questions that might lead you to uncomfortable truths. But curiosity is courageous. It pushes you to explore, to dig deeper, to understand more. And it is in that space of curiosity that growth happens. Every invention, every discovery, every transformation in history happened because someone refused to stay comfortable and chose instead to ask, what if? What if I tried something different? What if I learned something new? What if I pushed myself just a little further? That simple question has the power to open doors to possibilities that comfort will never reveal. When you make curiosity a part of your daily education, you stop fearing mistakes. Instead, you see them as answers, as part of the exploration. You begin to understand that not knowing something is not a weakness. It is an invitation to learn. And this mindset transforms the way you live. Instead of being stuck in the same place year after year, you begin to evolve. Because every day your curiosity is pulling you toward growth. Think about it, children are naturally curious. They touch, they explore. They ask endless questions, and through that curiosity, they learn faster than at any other time in life. But as we grow older, many of us lose that childlike wonder. We become afraid of looking foolish, afraid of not having the answers, afraid of stepping outside what we already know. But those who choose to keep their curiosity alive never stop growing. Money. They don't let fear silence their questions, and they don't let comfort hold them back. They know that growth is not found in the easy path. It is found in the unknown. Curiosity is what makes daily education exciting. If you are only learning because you have to, your growth will always be limited. But when you learn because you want to, because you are genuinely curious, your growth has no boundaries. That is when education stops being a burden and becomes a gift. Every book becomes a doorway. Every conversation becomes an opportunity. Every challenge becomes a lesson. And soon you realize that there is no such thing as a wasted day when curiosity is alive within you. Yes, stepping into the unknown can be uncomfortable. Yes, asking questions may sometimes lead to answers that challenge what you thought you knew. But isn't that what growth is all about? To be brave enough to let go of the old and welcome the new. To refuse to let fear of failure keep you from learning. Every time you choose curiosity over comfort, you add a new dimension to yourself. You stretch your mind, you deepen your understanding, you expand your possibilities. And here's the beauty of it. Once you begin to live with curiosity, you no longer settle for mediocrity. You no longer accept stagnation. You no longer allow yourself to live on autopilot. Because you know that life is too vast, too rich, too full of wisdom to be lived in a box. You start to crave growth, and that craving takes you places you never imagined. So, when I say educate yourself every day, I don't mean repeat what you already know. I mean feed your curiosity. Ask questions. Explore new ideas. Challenge your own thinking. Be willing to be uncomfortable, because comfort may keep you safe. But curiosity will help you grow. And growth is what makes life meaningful. That is why true education is born not from comfort, but from curiosity. When you commit to educating yourself every day, the change is not only within you. It extends far beyond you. Knowledge has this unique quality. It never stays confined. The wisdom you gain, the lessons you learn, the growth you experience, all of it naturally flows into the lives of others. Without even realizing it, you begin to inspire people, not through words alone, but through the way you live. Because nothing is more powerful than a life that reflects continuous growth. When someone sees you constantly striving to learn, to improve, to evolve, it awakens something inside them. It makes them question their own choices, their own routines, their own habits. They begin to wonder, if she can grow every day, why can't I? If he can commit to becoming better, why am I holding myself back? In this way, your dedication becomes a silent teacher for those around you. You don't have to preach. You don't have to lecture. Your life itself becomes the lesson. The world does not need more people who claim to know it all. It needs more people who are willing to learn, and through that willingness, inspire others to do the same. When you educate yourself daily, you show that growth is possible, no matter your age, your background, or your circumstances. You prove that transformation is not reserved for a chosen few, but available to anyone who is willing to put in the effort. That kind of example is far more powerful than words. It creates ripples that touch lives you may never even know. Think about the people who inspire you. Chances are, they are not perfect, but they are committed. They are not flawless, but they are learners. Their influence does not come from pretending to have all the answers, but from their courage to keep evolving. In the same way, when you educate yourself every day, you step into that role without even realizing it. Your curiosity, your humility, your growth, they become a light that others can follow. And there is something deeply fulfilling in this. Because when you inspire others, your own growth multiplies in meaning. Your education is no longer just about you. It becomes a gift to the world. Every book you read, every lesson you learn, every challenge you overcome, it all becomes part of the story you share, directly or indirectly, with others. And sometimes, that story becomes the spark that helps someone else rise from their struggles, believe in their worth, or chase after their dreams. We often underestimate the power of influence. We think we need a stage, a microphone, or a large audience to inspire others. But the truth is, the way you live every single day, the choices you make, the lessons you embrace, the growth you pursue, those are already influencing the people closest to you. A child watches a parent. A friend watches a friend. A colleague observes a colleague. Inspiration is always happening, silently, in ways you may not even realize. And that is why it is so important to educate yourself every day. Not only for your own journey, but for the journeys of those who will be touched by your growth. Because when you grow, you give others permission to grow. When you learn, you encourage others to learn. When you transform, you prove that transformation is possible. And that kind of ripple effect can change lives, families, and even communities. So, when you wake up each day and choose to educate yourself, remember this. It is not just about building your mind, your confidence, or your self-worth. It is also about carrying a light that others may need in their darkest hours. It is about being an example that whispers, if I can learn, so can you. If I can rise, so can you. If I can grow, so can you. And in that moment, your daily education becomes more than personal growth. It becomes an act of service, an act of inspiration, an act of love. That is the real power of educating yourself every day. It not only transforms you, but through you, it has the power to transform the world.